Welcome back to Index Card a Day 2017 with me, Creative Katie. Today we're going to do card number 23, and once again I'm off prompt. This one's called Let Dreams Take Flight. Links to any of the supplies can be found in the description box below. Remember to hit the subscribe button, and that way you won't miss any upcoming videos. So starting with a gessoed page, and the only thing I know for this one, I have no idea. I just decided that I'm going to get out my Dylusions paints and my Ranger felt pads, which I've attached to wooden spools and teacher stamps instead of buying the Ranger tool all the time. So I chose three analogous colors: the vibrant turquoise, cut grass, and the London fog, I believe it's called. I know these three colors are going to work together well. It's just easy peasy. With the Dylusions paints, the first layer might go on a little patchy. Give it a good dry and go in and blend a second time. That usually takes care of any of the applicator marks or any inconsistencies. It just always goes through that ugly stage. Since I'm going off prompt, then the only thing I'm limiting myself to is that I have to just use things that are already in my stash. So quotations that I already have printed out, pictures that I already have, embellishments that are already created. So I spend a little bit of time off camera looking through those things. So as you can see, the three colors are quite nice together. Right now I'm just grabbing a stencil. I'm just trying to think what I want to do. I've decided that I'm going to put a doily, glue a doily onto this, so most of this is not going to be seen. But on the off chance that bits and pieces are seen, and because it does give some visual texture and stuff, I'm going to do some stenciling. Now this is a peacock stencil, but I'm just using bits and pieces of the tail. And I'm using the same three colors. I'm not adding anything new here. And I'm just applying different colors onto the different parts of the card. So look at your stencils. Look at the little bits and pieces. You don't have to use the entire stencil. Let's get the most out of our stencils. So I'm liking how this is looking, and there's the doily. This doily has been sitting on my desk for quite a while. I've seen videos where people are using doilies and kind of layer things up, and I always really like what they do, but then I go to do it and I never actually commit to it. I'm kind of playing, I have a hummingbird cut out there, thinking, okay, maybe I'll do that in a silhouette and against the black, and that'll be good. So before I go on, I'm just going to clean the felt applicators and get all this used up paint. And I'm just using a coffee filter for that. And I wet the coffee filter and the applicator, and I just press down and get most of the paint out. This will give me an absolutely lovely colored coffee filter that works so amazing for collaging, or for a quick, easy background on an ICAD or ATC, and cleans things up really, really well. I really like the Dylusions paints, the blendability. There are certain techniques that are just so easy to do with them, but I really do not like the wide mouth containers. I really wish you would come out with a jar container where you squeeze out some. And inadvertently I have two coffee filters here, so I'm going to have two coffee filters of color. So in the past, when I have used a doily, I find them very delicate. And as soon as you add water to it, they almost turn to mush. So I know I'm going to have to keep a fairly light hand on this. So I am putting the gel medium on the back of the ICAD and just pressing into it. I'm putting it a little thicker as well because I do not want to rip or tear this doily. As I'm rubbing the gel medium on here, it does reactivate some of the paint. The paint wasn't quite, I guess, 100% dry. And that's what Diane indicates. She says it can be dry to the touch, but it has not cured. And I find until it's cured, it can, I got a little bit of color off. It didn't really affect things too much, but I just wanted to let you know in case that happens to you. So I'm just cutting off the rest of the doily, trimming things up, and just going to make sure that the corners and edges and everything is properly glued down. Just making sure everything's dry. And because the doily is so delicate, I'm not going to, I had thought of spraying some sprays, but I think that would just soak in and potentially cause problems. So I'm avoiding doing that. So I have some butterflies that I have embellishment butterflies that I created. I have some cutouts there. Then I have this, which was a die cut that I cut with a stencil. And I had used parts of it on other activities. This piece just left in the stash. And when it was a solid stencil, I don't think I ever would have thought to cut just this little bit to put on. But since it's in the stash and these little bits, I decide I'm going to add this. Make that little darker blue that still goes with that. It has the same kind of flow as the doily does. And I'm just applying that with gel medium. And then I found this butterfly that again has the teal and the blue in it. I had lots of different butterflies. These were done with watercolor. This Let Dreams Take Flight was actually photocopied onto, with my laser printer, onto deli paper. And I chose that over the one that was just on regular white paper because I kind of wanted it to disappear in the background. I have lots of white on this page. So I decided I'm just going with one butterfly. I've played, I went through my box of, things in the stash and stuff. But it just seemed that these items all seemed to work together. I'm trying to figure out exactly where I want the quote to go. And just using gel medium. This whole card took around 20 minutes. Add another 5 or so for me looking through my stash, and that was from beginning to end. trimming off the excess. Getting everything dry. And I'm thinking, am I done? Am I done? Is this done? There's an awful lot of white there. I guess that's something I'm just not overly comfortable with, is having a lot of white space. On the one part, I really like the airiness that it gives, but on the other, it's like, oh, I need to add more color. So I'm fighting the urge to, rub my finger over the texture of the doily to add some color. I get out my Prussian blue and I'm just edging it. There's not a whole lot of black other than the words there, and I want to keep this light. So that's why I chose to go with the blue. And the blue is the same as the blue on the embellishment that I added. Then I decide, oh, I need to do some splatters with the blue. I have extra, of course, because you always seem to put too much out, right? And I'm just going to splash. Of course, I splashed and I got a big glob. And of course, it's soaking into the doily. But I was able to clean it off mostly. Grab that coffee filter that I put the paint on earlier. It's still damp, and just decide I'm going to add some more splatters. Just building layers on this that it will be used for either collage or as a background, quick easy background at a later date. So as I was thinking, I had the camera turned off. I was thinking I was already done, and then I decided I'm just going to add some faux stitching with my Uniball Signo white gel pen, and I'm just adding that through in the middle. And that just, in my mind, it reads well with all the cut work in the doily. I thought maybe the blue was just a little bit too dark before. It just stood out too much. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. I finally used my doily. And here are some close-ups. It's amazing how things that you have in your stash can all work together. Thanks for watching.